Morning guys, hey, it's Len from Mercury Man Garage and Outdoors. Well, it's a beautiful Monday morning here in Michigan. Somewhat overcast. We just had a full day's rain, got almost 2 inches, but it's spring, so that's good. But today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about firewood and my journey with firewood and what firewood has done for me. There's kind of a trend going around in YouTube firewood videos right now discussing that. And a lot of guys have done their own personal videos on the subject. And Nick from Cabin View Firewood has suggested that I do one. And if you haven't seen his channel, I would recommend you guys check it out. It's a really good channel. He's out of Pennsylvania, and he's got a beautiful piece of property with beautiful equipment and does a great job with his content. So I suggest you guys check him out. But first, we're going to take a little ride and we're going to talk about firewood and trees and lumber and all of that stuff before I get into my video. All right, guys, well, I'm out here on my, I guess you'd say my neighbor's property. It's neighbor Scott. He's the local farmer in our area that owns most of the property. And he allows us to drive along the tree lines and the trail system he has, which is very, very nice of him to do. But that's just kind of a reminder to me of the community around here. It's a farming community. We're all into firewood. We're all into doing things ourselves, and that's just kind of the community we have here. And it just reminds me of the YouTube firewood community as well. Very helpful, very kind, very considerate, and willing to help one another out. And I guess if I had one thing to start this video off with, to say what firewood has done for me, it's just that. It's shown me what a great community I live in, how I'm blessed by the Lord with the blessings I have. I am so grateful for everything I have and the ability to do the things I can do with firewood and all my other interests that I have. But that's one thing I'd like to start this video off with, is just how my community reminds me of the YouTube firewood community, in that we're all so grateful, so kind and considerate and willing to help one another out. Now, one other thing, as I'm driving along here, you can kind of see the trees in the background that are down. That's another thing that Scott has allowed me to do, is to cut up the down trees along his tree lines and farms and, you know, along the field, because he can't use them. But the problem with a lot of these trees is they've been down for so long, they're rotten, and I can't really do anything with them. And these tree lines are full of poison ivy, which does not agree with me. So I stay away from them as much as possible. Unless there's a fresh down tree, then I'll take a chance and, you know, suit up and take precautions for the poison ivy, and I'll cut that tree up. But that's just another example of the community I live in, the firewood community. My community that I live in is just so kind, and he allows me to clean up any down trees that he has, and no questions asked. And I have done a few, but like I said, most of these are quite rotten, so I can't really do much with them. But, you know, this is kind of a deep subject, I guess, but just think about trees in general. And what a great renewable resource trees are. And these are the kinds of things that make me think. You know, firewood, trees, and things like that. These things have been around for years, and I mean, since the beginning of time, I guess you'd say, there's been trees. And I can't think of a better renewable resource in the land that's better than lumber. Trees, I mean, used for construction, it's used for home heat, it's used for enjoyment. And you could even say what's used for exercise, because what better way to get exercise than to get out and cut up some firewood. And if it's your own personal use, it's so rewarding to do something yourself that involves saving you money or making you money, or things like that. And besides all that, it's a renewable resource, so you're not really wasting the wood, because you can regrow trees. Yeah, it takes 50-60 years to grow some trees, but it's not like oil or gas that takes thousands of years to make. And trees are such a great renewable resource in my mind. That's kind of the things that I think about when I think of firewood, and the enjoyment I get from it, and my journey with it is just that thought process, that I'm really not hurting anything. Actually, I'm bettering things, I think. You're thinning out trees, you're helping the healthy ones to grow better. You're using it for a purpose and not just wasting it. I can't think of anything that's wasteful on a tree, from the lumber use, the firewood use, all the way down to these down trees out here that go back into the soil to help the soil to regenerate and to grow things, and for the wildlife. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion. And like I said, that's one thing about the firewood community and industry that makes me smile, is what I can do for my family, to make a little money on the side, to have a nice campfire, and to sell some wood to some other people so they can enjoy it. I can't think of any other natural resource any better than that. All right, guys, we're going to take a little stroll around my wood yard here and talk about my journey with firewood and what it has done for me. And it's similar to your guys' videos and your journeys, in that it started for me very young, as a child. We had a fireplace in our house, and we burned wood in the wintertime. Not a lot, but we burned it quite a bit, and it was a nice heat source for the room that it was in, because that room did not have heat. It just was heated by that fireplace, and we ran that quite often in the wintertime. And my dad and I would get wood wherever we could. Whenever my uncle had property behind our house, and we'd get a lot of wood from him back there, and we'd go out and cut it up, or just take a trip in the pickup somewhere and go get some wood. We burned a lot of slab wood, because you could get that for free, and it was easy to get and haul home, easy to handle, and things like that. So that was very enjoyable. We burned a lot around the holidays, and I'll always remember the dogs that we had as kids. They loved the fireplace. The dogs would lay right in front of the fireplace, and they'd get hot and Then they'd have to get up and get a drink of water, and it was just fun watching those dogs just sprawled out in front of the fireplace. That was a good time. I always enjoyed a fireplace. You got some smoke from it, and maybe that's one of the things that got me into it too, is I always liked the smell of the smoke. That's something that I really liked, especially certain woods obviously are going to smell better than others, but that's just one other thing that kind of got me into it, is that the smell. And another thing that got me into firewood, and this was as a child as well, is we as a family would take a trip up north every weekend to the Muskegon River. And if you guys that are watching this that are from Michigan, you know all about the Muskegon River, and especially near Croton Township and Hardy Dam and Croton Dam area. Great walleye fishing, great perch fishing. It's just a good fishing river, and we enjoyed it. We'd take a trip there every weekend. We had a trailer in the campground at Croton. It's Croton, for anybody that wants to look it up. It's still there. And it was just a great time as a family, where we would just go up there every weekend, and it'd be like a mini vacation every weekend. And we loved it. And of course we had fires there. And Dad and I would go out in the woods and get wood, and there was a lot of lumber mills around in that area, so it was easy to get slab wood. So that's what we burned. And most times for me, I was the designated fire starter of the campfire. And as a child, that's pretty cool. That's really cool to do that, and had a great time. And that's something I'll never forget. I love that place. And that's a couple of the things that got me into it. And now, where I'm at now, there was quite a lull in my firewood life, I guess you'd say, from then till now, until I built my pole barn and put a wood stove in there. And that's when I really got back into firewood, because I needed a fuel for that. And started gathering firewood around the neighborhood here, wherever I could. And then it just kind of kept growing. I kept getting so much wood, I didn't know what to do with it. So I ended up selling some. And, then I got into thinking about other ways of what I can do with the firewood that I get. And, I'm going to these big box stores and gas stations, and I'm seeing these bundles that they have for sale for like 10 or 12 bucks. And I'm thinking, you only get like 4 or 5 sticks, or maybe 8, but not very big ones. And it was softwood. So I'm thinking, man, we can do better than that, all right? I should be able to do something better than that. And that's how I kind of got into my bundle business, is just from witnessing, what gas stations are selling the bundles for. And I said to myself, I can do better than that. So that's where I'm at now. I got into the bundle business, and it's growing, I guess you'd say. It started out really good, then it slowed down, now it's picking up again. But I think that's going to happen with any business. But that's kind of my journey with firewood and where I'm at now. And as far as the relaxation part of it is, you can't go wrong there either, because it's very hard work, but at the same time it relaxes your mind, and it just it gets you outdoors. It's good exercise, and what better way to enjoy God's creation than to be outdoors in it. And the fact that you can create something or make something that you can use that's kind of self-sufficient, for burning, for selling, for whatever purpose you use your firewood for, there's no downside to it as far as I can see, other than the occasional acre pain or poison ivy. But that's about it. I mean, I think we all can live with that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is my little part of the what firewood has done for me journey. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, please give me a like, please subscribe, and leave a comment, guys. All right, have a good one.